Hey guys, late night vlog. Well, not late night, Friday night vlog. I felt inspired to talk about two things: football and martial arts, boxing. Why I quit martial arts and boxing is related to football. I was just reading an article where Bob Costas was talking about the end of football because all the science is showing that if your kids are playing football, they say you shouldn't play football, or at least contact football, until at least past 18 because you're going to be doing serious brain damage to your kids. So I think that the wiser parents are probably not going to let their kids do brain damage to themselves because that could lead to all kinds of problems and depression and mental problems and emotional problems and all kinds of crazy stuff. And you hear about all these professional football players having all kinds of issues, brain problems, and quite young, kind of like the professional wrestlers, besides all the other physical problems as well. Now, you may love football, and it may be a great game for you, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth the brain damage? I don't know. I think we should have like robot football players. You get little robots, sock them, you control them off, or do touch football, but touch football is not nearly as fun. Yeah, anyway, so how does this relate to my martial arts background? I did martial arts since I was 10 years old up until about 40 or so, something like that. But I stopped doing hardcore martial arts in my late 30s, meaning sparring and, why did I stop sparring? I stopped sparring because I had gotten my nose fixed in terms, it was all, I had broken 3 times, and I couldn't breathe. So I got my nose fixed, I got the deviated septum fixed. I'm not saying it's perfect, but let me tell you, it was a mess before. My doctor said, you know what, no more boxing for you, your nose, it shattered it, leave it alone. So I had to make a choice whether to go get a beating, to break my nose again for something that didn't have really long-term effects on me in terms of positive impacts. I was also going to become a professional fighter at this point. I had to make that choice between becoming a professional, a business owner, a developer, tech entrepreneur, or to get deeper into boxing, because I had reached a level where to continue in the development of myself as a fighter, I would have to go really hardcore. So that was like that point, that fork in the road where I decided, you know what, I'm ugly enough as it is, forget about it, I'm not going to go there. Problem was, I love to spar. I love to spar. Sparring's so much fun. But I couldn't do that because, after you get your nose fixed, any shot could break it again, and it's just like, you can only do so many surgeries, right? So I had to stop. There are other reasons, though, I stopped, is because I was thinking the long-term implications about my health, right? I looked at a lot of boxers. I think 80% of boxers will have permanent brain damage. A lot of professional athletes. Oh, all right, sorry, got interrupted. So I forget where I was. Anyway, so I had to think about the future. I said, forget it. And then shortly thereafter, I sort of stopped sparring. I love to spar, but I stopped sparring because I don't want to get my nose broke again. You never know, right? It's unlikely, because I got my nose broken early on when I wasn't good. I was making fundamental mistakes. And I was quite an elusive guy, so I didn't get hit too much, but you never know. On top of that, I decided, I don't know what it was, a year later or 2 years later training, I'm not sure what it was, I decided to even stop hitting heavy bags and punching pads. And you say, why would you stop doing that? Because I was getting very sore hands after that. So we're looking my late 30s at this point. I'm getting very sore hands for like a day or two, even though I was wearing pads. And I thought to myself, boy, I'm getting sore hands now, and I'm in my late 30s, mid-30s, late 30s. Imagine how my hands will be if I continue to smash them in 15 years from now. And I thought about all those wrestlers in chronic pain, those professional fighters in chronic pain, professional football players in chronic pain, et cetera, et cetera. And I talked to some people in my family who had been pretty high-level athletes, but they were now, when they were like in their late teens, early 20s, but now they were permanent damage and they're in chronic pain with their hands or their back. And I asked them, if you had to do it over again, would you, in terms of going for the glory when you're young versus what you've learned since, And they both told me, said, there's no way, if I could do it over again, I would not have done the sport, because it's a very short, fleeting period of time of glory for a lifetime of pain. And the irony is that most people will never get the real glory. They'll never become professional football players. They'll never become professional fighters. They'll never become professional athletes. It's such a rare thing. So the risk reward is just silly bad. It's just not worth getting into, in my humble opinion. The irony is, no, it's not irony. If you had to make a choice, if you have kids, do you send them to football camp or do you send them to code camp? Now, I'm biased, but chances are 99% more likely they're going to make much more money if you send them to code camp and become technology experts in some form than if you send them to football camp or soccer camp or something. And the great thing about sending them to code camp, no chance of brain injury. No chance of brain injury, which is a pretty good thing if you ask me. So that's my 2 cents. This is a non-techie vlog, I suppose. Not very often that I talk about things that are not related to tech, as you know. Anyhow, but I think it's still a very important lesson. It's good to get perspective from somebody who's done a lot of sports in the past. And so maybe you could avoid getting your nose broken 3 times. That might be useful to you. Geez, very busy night tonight.